Hello everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Let's try some 3 minute. Right, we'll try again. Can we get to 2650? I'm having a bad run of it lately. I feel like I need to change this mouse settings. I keep saying that, but yeah, I misplayed this because you shouldn't really have got this in so easily. This C5 move. But now he's already doing quite well. It was knight d4, e5, knight f5 here, but then he goes queen c5. So maybe this. Yeah, I wonder about something like this, and then can take, of course. Yeah. Rook here. Yeah, I always really struggle. I think firstly I need to sort out the mouse settings. Second, I was obviously would struggle at the start of these sessions. Maybe here to prevent rook c8. I mean, e4 is a move, right? What does he do after e4? Oh, bishop a2 maybe, but then... Yeah, bishop a2 is playable. Maybe then rook c5. The idea knight c6. Because if he takes here, I take here, and then I'm hitting a rook. Yeah, so rook here I was thinking. Go here maybe. This knight is vulnerable. So knight c6. Maybe rook b5 sometimes, but no. Okay, rook b5 is possible. Queen c7, rook b4. So rook here, maybe I could go rook here, but I'm not sure. It's very murky. It's hitting my rook. There's queen e3 maybe. Might try queen h4. Queen h4 is e5. So it doesn't work out. So if he trades, then the bishop is vulnerable. He's going to trade. Yeah. So rook a4. Maybe just rook a4, yeah. Yeah, so he's hanging in there. Maybe b4. c5. Check. e5. That's b5 actually. So rook here, if he takes rook b4, no, that doesn't work. So maybe this. Okay, there's also rook h5 maybe. So if I take king g7, this. Trade, knight c6. Knight d4, knight e5. Yeah, I didn't quite get there. I should have won that game. And again, the mass at the end is just horrific. So this mass is really pissing off now. Sorry. That game was really totally winning at the end of the game. I still gained points on the game, but disappointing. Okay, let's carry on. I can take. There's knight g4 here. Let's check. We just take. Again, knight g4. Knight e3 maybe. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Okay, king e7. They want to be maybe a5 is an option. I'm a little bit worried about rook c1. Okay, I could play rook a7 followed by b6, bishop d7. At some point b5 might be a good option actually. They always have something, these players, you know, they might be like bad positionally, but then they're good tactically or something like that. Maybe I want to take here. If he takes rook c3. Yeah, but now bishop d4 is good. Okay. That was a fairly easy win. That's what you want. You want to like a quick win just to get the confidence back after that mess up in the previous game. Yeah. A3. He's fast, this guy. Oh, no, e5. I've had this position kind of before, right? He's got knight back, I suppose. That's the only problem. Right. Rook f3 is an option. Rook h3. Ah, yeah, I've had this kind of thing before, right? So it could take actually. It could take. I know he's going to. No, he's going to take with this pawn. Maybe actually just go g4. Oh, this move I missed. or underestimated rook c1. Again, still struggling with the mouse. Don't want to make excuses, but it is what it is. Yeah, some of my pieces are offside now. You know, even though I'm attacking, they're kind of offside, right? Rook c3 is possible. But then maybe rook d3 has got check. Okay, we'll try rook c3. It's going to take and go queen c7. Yeah, maybe queen g3 actually. Okay, h4, h5 is my idea. Now you can win the a2 pawn, but then maybe I get attacking chances on the king's side, but I'm not sure about it. Like queen a2, h5. Yeah, so he's gone back, which is not surprising. Queen g5 is possible, because if h6 is queen check. Oh no, but now h6 looks dangerous for him, right? Just come in here. Oh, he's got queen d7. Oh, but then, yeah, maybe d5 takes e6, right? It kind of feels like the way. I don't think he can take, actually. I think he has to go queen d7, which will probably, yeah, only move. But still queen f6, though. Because if he takes e6. We've got queen there, though, which I missed. Although then I can take, and then it's winning. So if he takes e6 is strong, I think. Because then I'm going to get e7. This is just winning. I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without you. Yeah, queen c7, e7. This is game over, I think. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. Okay, I take. Yeah. Okay, we'll just keep playing this guy. Seems beatable. I think when you play human opponents, it's a lot easier. This guy's obviously not a cheat, right? Maybe it's just because I'm beating him, but you know what I mean? It's like, you know, when you're playing like half these people, they just seem completely unbeatable. Yeah, but I've seen people play like this before. This is not a good way to play for white because, well, he's threatening knight g5 maybe, which I missed. Okay, maybe h6 prevent her, but now of course he can take the bishop. Yeah, but now d3 is weak. Maybe f5, f4 sometimes. I just got to watch out for knight b4. Oh, that's a good move because now he's going to get. There's knight b4 maybe. Knight d5, c6 or something like that. Let's say knight d5. Knight d5 looks natural. Could also take cd, f5. Maybe some. Yeah, probably this and then take that, right? And then go rook d8 quickly. Queen f5 sometimes, but you can always meet that with. This looks bad though what he's doing, but it's probably not. Okay, f5 now. Now I'm threatening f4 because his bishop's no longer in conjunction with that pawn. So if f4 takes, no, f4 is too much. There's e4. There's one option. Yeah, that's kind of annoying actually because now I don't get f4. I don't. Oh no, hang on. I could go f4 takes, take on e3. Oh, maybe that's the way. Take. Yeah, this is nice. If this works, this is very nice. Takes, queen f5 maybe. No. Yeah, actually it's possible. It all looks very wrong for him. Queen f5 here is possible. Because rook d8 is queen f2. And queen e2, there's queen f1. A bishop f3, I can take on a d2. A bishop g2, there's just queen. Well, I don't know. There should be something. There's queen f2 here. Rook f2, rook d1. Is that just winning? Queen f2. Okay, mate. I mean, I don't think I should even be below 2650. I just had like a really long addictive session the other day where I just played for far too long. I sort of like got up at 8 o'clock in the morning and played round to about 12, yeah. Okay, so this guy's given up. He's Turkish. But yeah, I shouldn't even be like under 2600, really. I mean, under 2650. I should be over 2700, really, but yeah, once I sort out the mouse settings, I think I'll get well over 2700. But this game was a nice game. I mean, how accurate was it? Okay, he played quite badly. I think this whole idea of playing bishop h1, I think is a mistake because allowing knight g4 is dangerous for him. I actually played with 97% accuracy there. Wow, that's crazy. It helps if you've seen. In fact, it doesn't even like my knight g4, even though it looks very natural. That's interesting that rook ae8 is the best move. Wow, that's crazy. And if knight d5, what's the idea? So you want to go knight g4, right? Anyway, or maybe I just improve like bishop b6. At the moment, I don't have a threat, but like d4 is a blunder here because d4, ed, knight d4. Knight d4, rook e1, queen e1, bishop d4. So he can't go d4 unless he wants to give up a pawn. I think h6 was a good decision because now I like my position at this point. Like rook e2 was too much, yeah. His pieces are kind of. Yeah, and I felt like I've had obvious attacking chances here. This looks very nice for black, and it's very simple now. So it's just seen that extra variation where they take on e3, and yeah, I think he's just dead lost now by this point. Queen, I mean, he has to give. Yeah, I mean, he's like -7, right? So it's really just this idea of just. So this is the nice checkmate, right? Which just goes to show the bishop h1 is probably not a very good move because his king is stuck. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the other games I had. So that was a nice little session, you know, 3-1. I had 1 draw and 3 wins. And this game was, I thought this game had some good moments to it. I mean, it wasn't a great game, certainly in the opening, but towards the end I played reasonably well. So again, not a bad game, you know, 93% accuracy. So I'm showing that I'm playing reasonably accurately. I think the fact that I've knocked the rust off, I should start to gain rating now. And this all looks quite bad for black, in my opinion. Actually, rook f3 is not the best. Rook ae1. Yeah, so maybe I'm missing this idea of centralising the rooks. So the last game, rook ae8, and this game, rook ae1. I'm not such a good strategist. Maybe the idea is just to go e4. Let's say they do like a nothing move. What do you play? E4 or something? C5, yeah, it just goes for moves that I don't even really consider, like C5. Because I'm want to attack on the king side, right? So that's what I understand. But yeah, that makes sense if they go A6. Let's say they went like, because obviously then you're weakening the B6 square, right? But what happens if they, yeah, it's quite hard for black to find a move. That's the problem. Right, say they went rook B8. Oh, now you're doing this, and then you've got an attack. Right, but then later on, yeah, I think later on I had a tiny edge, but if he defends accurately, it's nothing. But this is quite a bad move. And in fact, you can take, probably because there's knight h5. Oh, queen g6. Oh, that's lovely, yeah. But that looks, yeah, and blitz, queen g5 looks natural. I just rushed that a little bit. I probably could have seen that tactic if I spent a bit more time. And then, in fact, knight e6 was just, you know, overthinking it. But it's also winning, so it didn't really matter by this point. Yeah, because the problem is the only other defence is just failing to that. And then material loss. So, easy enough in the end, but not convincing. This game, he just played poorly from the opening. I didn't understand what he was doing at all. Like, I think I misplayed it later. Actually, what was the so I had 97 for the for that the fourth game against this guy, third game, sorry. And then what was my percentage actually here? Probably it's got 92%. So again, you know, I made a blunder in this game. So I did make a blunder. It's quite a simple game as well, right? It quickly went for an end game which was quite comfortable. Yeah, bishop f4 g5 is good. I could have played it slightly more accurately there, like bishop d7 maybe. Yeah, and just, yeah, that's amazing. The computer just wants to give out the b pawn for nothing. Yeah, h5. I did see that idea. I was thinking actually playing h5 even here, you know, which I think would have been quite a good option. But knight g4 was, yeah, and again, knight e3 was a mistake because I'm allowing to play this knight a3 and get the pawn back immediately with no problems. Like if I went h5 and he went knight a3, maybe you just take. Oh, that's interesting. So it doesn't really care the fact that knight a3 as long as you don't give. In fact, this knight is very strong. It's saying. So like takes, and then you castle, and your initiative is coming. Bishop d5, bishop f2. Yeah, so yeah, I was slightly better at this point, but he should defend. Like, I went there with the idea of going b6 or bishop d7, but without dropping the b pawn, because they'll just take the pawn. Like, if you go bishop d7 here, he's taking the pawn. Yeah, of course he is. Well, I would take the pawn. You know, anybody would take the pawn. You know, so you can get too casual there, right? And just give the pawn away. But I think at that moment it's not a good idea to give the pawn away. Yeah, so he kind of fell apart that game. And the only other game I played was that game, which was disappointing, right? Because I was completely winning this at some point in the end game. But I just ran out of time and then misplayed it. So what he's doing here, actually, he seemed to get a good position. So maybe here a4 is wrong. A4 is wrong, right? So I've got to go rook c1 here, right? And I should know that for future reference. Because I get this kind of position a lot, and a4 is a patzer move. So one line it gives is like rook c8, a3, h6, bishop here. Yeah, so it loves this idea of going knight e5, right? With a slight edge, slight pawn. Bishop takes, queen takes, and then f4. And if b4, then you know, my knight is going to jump into So, for example, b4 here, you could take knight e4, and then that's just already tremendous for white. If the knight's jumping into d6, I guess, you know, just to show that, you know, something like this is really, it's not winning, but it's just really good. Yeah, and again, you just play bishop b1 and queen d2, and you've got all the chances here. I mean, you could take on b7, but I think that's a bit of a cop out. But I think this like would be a bad decision. Actually, yeah. Even Bobby Fischer wouldn't have played that move. Bobby Fischer loved, you know, it was a famous game against Petrosian where he gave out the knight on c5 maybe for the bishop on d7 or something like this. Again, yeah, famous game Bobby Fischer versus Petrosian. We've got to do a book review on the Petrosian book in a bit. He's a very interesting character, Petrosian. You know, not like your typical chess player, quite a defensive player. But this is just a line, right? But I went a4 and then, yeah, I mean, it could even maybe, is knight f2 even playable here? Probably not. Nah, not the best. Because I think the point is you take, and then when they take back, you go knight g5 and you have queen h5. So they can't take. So they have to really keep. So they take, but now he gets knight f6 and then c5. In fact, I should go knight d2. I shouldn't allow c5. Well, knight d2, c5 anyway. And then bishop b7 and then take. But can he not win the pawn mat? I mean, maybe even here he could even go c5, right? It's a bit no, it's bad. It's bad. Like take, knight d3. But he can go rook d8. And then fiddle, eventually prepares e5 and he's fine. I think if he takes it, it's quite a bad strategic error because then I get a clamp on c5. Even this actually, yeah, e5 is quite important. Yeah, also this is also possible. Now after c5, he's just doing well, right? I mean, what he was doing was absolutely fine. But then he starts getting a bit murky. I went rook here. The objective is not good for white. Oh, e5, yeah, I did think about ideas like that, but not in this specific position. I think what I did was a mistake, right? No, it's still better. Saying the best is to take. Wow. Yeah, I didn't even consider him taking. But, yeah, it makes some sense actually, taking on d4 makes some sense because he's well placed on the queen side. You know, with the A and B pawns, right? Interesting. Yeah, so the main line is something like this. And then the idea is to go rook c8 and trade a pair of rooks, I guess, at some point, or at least have that option. And probably there's more than, I mean, if you went queen e3, is white worse here? No. Is e5, is white worse? No. So there's lots of ways to be better. I mean, that would be kind of surprising to give up the exchange like that. So I think I was doing absolutely the right things. And even that was giving me, it was better moves, rook c5 or rook c3. It's like the lazy move is just to do this, right? I think he defended it fairly well because he basically went into this holdable endgame. So rook c5, yeah, I should go b5 of course. Because that was also a mistake. Because now I don't, yeah, once he gets this, now it's just more or less equal. So really I was just trying to beat him on time and I failed. Because he beat me on time. That's what I'm saying about being slow with the mouse. Like if I had a quicker mouse, I was well ahead on the clock here. I probably would have won. You know, because eventually we got this, and this is just equal, of course, but eventually we got this king and pawn endgame where I was winning. Oh, you could just go king, we blunder with e5. And then later on, I mean, I'm not, yeah, king e6 of course. I mean, I knew that of course, but it just had no time. Just playing, yeah, king e6 is winning. But then again, I probably would still would have lost on time even if I found king e6. Well, I should be winning on time because I was up on clock when we went into the rook and pawn endgame. So it's just a mouse that is letting me down. So I'm going to try and change the mouse settings. But overall, I gained points, so that's a good thing. That's a positive. I mean, saying I only gained 2, but I think I gained more than that, didn't I? So I won 3-0 against that guy. And, yeah. I mean, surely I must have gained more than 2, right? If you look at the games. So that game I gained 5, that game I gained 4, that game I gained 5, and that game was equal. So in theory I gained 15, so why is it saying I only gained 2? I'm not sure about that. Yeah, so my blitz ranking needs to improve. It will if I keep playing. That was a much better. Now I've warmed up a bit. I think I'll get over 2650 fairly easily, even with a bad mouse. If I got the mouse improved, I think 2700 is there for the taking. See the bullet there as well. Bullet can get over 2800 with a better mouse. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope to do more of these streams in the future. But yeah, a lovely gain of 15 points. Wonderful. It gains you absolutely nothing, doesn't it? You know. That's the thing, right? You know, it'd be nice if it gave you some money. Like if you play poker online. I don't know if, does anyone play poker online? Still, I used to play poker online back in the day, but I found it very addictive. You know, and obviously you're playing for money a lot of the time, so it's dangerous. But you can gain money if you have a good session. Chess, you don't gain anything. So yeah, a sob story coming on. But yeah, essentially that's the problem. And so to monetize it, a lot of chess players are stream. Well, kind of what I'm doing at the moment. You know, I'm doing a YouTube video, but not streaming live. I could stream live on YouTube, right? But then it's very hard even to make money if you do that because there's so many people doing the same thing, and you know, you need it like a USP to really stand out from the sort of hundreds and thousands of people that are doing the same thing. Anyway, that's enough babble. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.